it's required for Canadians to talk about the CBC every hour. Yeah, it's CRTC guidelines,
CanCon.
Yeah. Everything is... Anyway.
Oh, can I talk about that for just a quick moment?
What about the CRTC?
About CanCon specifically.
Yeah.
So I've been gathering clips because
What's CanCon?
Canadian content mandated by law by the CRTC, the Canadian Radio and Telecommunications Corporation. A commission, I'm sorry, not corporation. They mandate that a certain amount, and it varies over years, a certain amount of all broadcast material must be Canadian-produced content. So I've been putting together some clips for a certain event later on in Desert Bus. Not the late-night dub fight, but something very similar. And I was looking for clips of Astro Boy.
Oh, yeah.
The 80s version, right? Which some of you may remember from your...
Apparently Alpha Flight taught Jacob about CanCon today.
Yeah. Which is partially why I'm bringing it up, because I remembered.
Every day someone learns about the Flintstones.
Every time
For the first time.
The Who?
Guess who?
Oh, thank you.
Astro Boy had an 80s version that was dubbed into English. And I found some clips online, and everything was weird. The voices were different, the songs were the same, and they were slightly longer and had more clips. And it took me a bit more research to find out that we got a different cut of Astro Boy in Canada.
Really?
And the reason that I can talk to people about the ending of our Astro Boy, which had a quiz at the end of it, where Astro would retell the story of the episode to a computer for the archives, but leave one detail changed, and your idea was that you were supposed to write it down and compare your answers with your friends. And if you get it right, Astro will come and play with you. Or some bullshit. That was... Bulbous Fett. That was Canadian content.
Really?
Yeah. That and again, Bulbous opening monologue giving the origins of Astro Boy.
Wow.
From some Professor Balthus.
And that seems like a real sideways way of getting CanCon in. It's like, we're not going to produce any Canadian content to put on our programming. We're just going to bring something from Japan and change it in the slightly most dumb way and call it CanCon.
No, we're going to take something that was made in the U.S. from Japanese stuff, cut a little bit out, add some new stuff, and that's CanCon.
It's funny because I used to watch my my parents when I was younger. They
Pass me my water bottle.
I wanted to watch Sesame Street on PBS because we get PBS here, the American Public Broadcasting Service, and they were okay with me watching Sesame Street on PBS as long as I watched Canadian Sesame Street on CBC.
Because that French.
Which ran, I think, like an hour before the other Sesame Street. And the Canadian Sesame Street was all of the same, because it's basically a sketch format, right? It was a whole bunch of stuff that was the same from the American show, but then additional Muppet sketches with our own Canadian Muppets.
Yeah, those ones.
Asku just posted a picture of it. There was like a, I think the old granny was a bush pilot.
She was.
Absolutely. Yeah, it was a polar bear and a beaver and an old lady as a bush pilot.
Yeah. I think it was an otter actually, not a beaver.
Oh, an otter. Yeah. Thank you. And so it was just you'd have like just these random, totally disconnected. Like they didn't go to like the Sesame Street with all the other Muppets. They didn't interact with Grover or anybody. It was just these self-contained Canadian segments.
Yeah.
So. Yeah, it was neat.
Also just realizing now, thanks to the chat, that this probably explains exactly why Sailor Says was a thing.
Oh,
at the end of Sailor Moon.
Deke.
Not just because it's a
Wow.
learning thing, but because now it's Canadian content.
I hadn't even thought about that.
Sailor Moon says, "Don't bully."
The one that you said about stuff getting cut off always reminds me of the I Collect Rocks video.
Yeah.
Which they would almost never play in full. They would just cut it off in the middle of the song because the commercial break was over or they hit their quota or whatever.
Wow.
So.
I remember that.
Yep.
I'm sure we've talked about it before. Anyway, I had no idea there were bootleg Canadian Muppets. They weren't bootleg. They were made by the Children's Television Workshop.
Yeah, regional Sesame Muppets are a very big thing.
You know how many international Big Birds there are? Some of them are different colors. It's weird.
Yeah.
The
blue one's my favorite.
The what?
The
blue
Brazilian blue one?
I think that's a Brazilian one.
There's
yeah.
one. There's a green one from I want to say Portugal.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, it's fascinating. Other Sesame Streets are available.
Yeah.
Sorry. Yes, you're right. You're right. It is Big's Bird. Yeah.
Big's Bird.
There are many Big's Bird.
Biggie's bird.
Yeah, there. That's the blue one.
And yet we still
Portugal's
have,
was yellow. Ah, darn. I can't remember. The Dutch one was blue.
Yeah.
and yet we lost the last surviving Mr. Blobby in the wild.
Yeah. I mean,
I'm just kidding. We've been in the spaceship so long. I'm starting to wonder if they, the pundits have declared war on the other big birds as well. If it's just the one.
I don't think they know. Don't let them know.
All right.
true Sesame fans will remember when Dave Thomas spray painted Big Bird blue, but that was for a circus.
From Wendy's.
Not
Okay.
the Dave Thomas from Wendy's. Exactly.
All
Yeah.
right. I missed that episode.
There's a Twitter thread with Big Bird talking about his international cousins. Whisper, whisper, whisper. Someone's mic was still live. We're 6 minutes out from the garages, by the way.
Yeah.
So
Get ready to park it, y'all.
yeah.
I
It
call
sounded like you were going to say get ready to party, and
Boomer,
I forgot.
did you
Oh,
send
right.
the mood and base?
That's the horrifying one. I can't remember where that one's from, but it's upsetting.
Yep.
They should do a special where, like,
where they all go to the UN.
where where Big Bird travels the world and meets all the other big birds.
I like that.
Wouldn't that be fun?
I really like that. I still want a UN episode.
Well,
because
now I want it,
I want to
yes.
see the Count in front of the Count Sylvania signs. We will bury you 1, 2, 3
3.
times.